On the morning of September 11th, 2001, 4 passenger airliners departing from Boston, Washington, D.C., and Newark, New Jersey were hijacked by a team of terrorists. 2 jets were flown into the World Trade Center in New York City, resulting in the collapse of both towers and the death of more than 2,700 people. A 3rd jet flew into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., which killed 125 people in the jet and the building. The 4th jetliner was en route to another target in Washington, but the passengers fought back, forcing the jet to crash in an empty field in Shanksville, Somerset County. The 40 passengers and crew members all perished, but no one on the ground was killed.
September 11, 2001 was a Tuesday, deadline day for the accident. We actually had a bereavement special scheduled for that day. Ironic in light of what happened later. Get into the office around 8:45, and the first plane has already hit the North Tower.
And we turned on this smallish TV and watched in horror as the second commercial airlines hit the World Trade Center Tower 2, which would be the South Tower. So that got our attention.
I can't remember if I saw the live shot of the plane hitting the South Tower. It was replayed so many times, even that morning. But as soon as we saw how that plane hit the South Tower, we all knew this is not an accident. This is intentional. We're under attack. For about 30 minutes, I really wasn't sure what to do next. It's in New York, and we've learned that there's an attack on the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. How does this connect to the Diocese of Greensburg, the Catholic accent, and what we were doing?
And then we were in the newsroom trying to juggle, knowing that the front page would be different. We just didn't know how. Of course, you try to find the local hook. And so that's what we were trying to do.
The first thing we learned is that there were some planes unaccounted for. That had become the news story after the Pentagon. They weren't sure about 2 or 3 planes. And then very shortly after, Flight 93 crashes into the ground in Somerset County,
we realized that we had to go. We knew we had to leave that newsroom and leave the diocese, but get to Somerset and get there fast. We figured that it was probably connected.
We have now become part of that story. If we send a writer and a photographer, my first thought is, what are we sending them into? A lot of the photos and Melissa's stories that day were obviously the firsthand. The people who saw the plane come in, a lot of photos of first responders. And you start hearing the stories about the passengers of Flight 93 fighting back because of all the 911 calls and because of all the cell phone calls. Actually, I don't even think they're cell phones, those old track phones that were on the back of the seats in the airplanes. So that story becomes pretty well known because you have this massive investigation into what happened, how did it happen.
They would later learn that it was in fact a terrorist attack on the United States of America. The terrorist attack was being carried out by 19 members of the Al-Qaeda group led by Osama bin Laden, killing nearly 3,000 people.
We weren't a daily paper, but how did people's faith get them through this? Because that's what makes the Catholic accent different. The Diocese of Greensburg sponsored several prayer services, including one at the cathedral that included the local rabbi and the Islamic leader from Pittsburgh. For several months after the 9/11 attacks, attendance at masses and at other church services definitely increased. And this was traumatic even for people in Greensburg, even for people who didn't have family members on those planes. Even, this is the first time we'd been attacked on our soil since Pearl Harbor. First time we've been this large of a coordinated attack. The day is still a jumble of memories because so much happened and it was so intense. In addition, it's my birthday. I did not celebrate my birthday on 9/11 for many years. It's only been in the last few years that we actually have the birthday celebration, observance, cake, pie, whatever it is, gift exchange. It's only probably been in the past 5-6 years. 9/11, for those many years, was the attacks. Almost 3,000 people died. 41 on that plane, 40 or 41 on the plane that, and again, to say it crashed in Somerset County is not accurate. I mean, the passengers fought back. The passengers fought back to a degree that, from what I've read about that, the terrorists had no choice. The terrorists knew they had been overtaken, and the ones at the controls were the ones who put it in the ground is supposedly what they said. Still, when I think back on that day, the first instant memory, it was a beautiful, beautiful day. Not a cloud in the sky, beautiful blue sky. And Melissa has said this. I call it the same thing. It's a 9/11 day, especially when there's a day like that around this time of year. You know, a week or two before 9/11, and then, you know, if it's 2 or 3 weeks after, that's the first thing that comes to mind. It's a 9/11 day.